Hi, I'm Jobert Okal, the online editor of the Freeman, and welcome to your Friday afternoon habit. This is the Freeman Conversations, where we get to talk about the latest stories, trends, and events. Today we'll be talking about the proposed Anti Turncoatism ordinance in Cebu City, which, if approved, would disallow councillors in the city to move to political parties or shift political alliances during their term of office. If you have your thoughts on this, please feel free to comment, type them down in the comment section. Here in the studio live, we will be talking to the councillor that heads the Committee on Laws in the City Council, and of course, we'll be joined also by the head of the Political Science Department of the University of San Carlos. Please welcome to the Freeman Conversations, Councillor Cecilia Andales, and of course, Ms. Bernardo Brenica of USC. Thank you very much both for joining us today. May hapon.
May hapon.
And happy weekend. Okay, this is quite...
Congratulations to the Toronto Raptors.
Oh yes! What's the top team, sir? What's your team?
Lakers, di ba?
Ikaw, miss?
Any. Not really much into any.
Alright, and congratulations to the Toronto Raptors. Okay, we'll be talking about a very interesting ordinance because as far as, well, the three of us are concerned, this is the first time that something like this is being proposed in Cebu City.
Mm-hmm.
And the ordinance actually would ban, councillors from moving to another political group or alliances during their term of office. This is being proposed by Councillor Renato Osmeña. We actually invited him to today's conversation, but unfortunately he could not join us today. Okay, Councillor Andales, you had the committee that looked into the proposal. What was your finding?
Well, I find it within the ambit of the jurisdiction of the City Council to enact a law. That is why we wanted to have a public hearing so that we can also know the sentiments of the stakeholders like the IPP, like the Committee, the IAG, and other entities for that matter, who are
Yes.
really, can share their opinion and views as far as the proposed ordinance of Junjun is concerned.
Osmeña,
Sorry.
yes. The public hearing was supposed to be scheduled this week.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I said my schedule. We were during three public hearings were done last Tuesday.
Yeah. Okay. But if ever, sir, not by time for the
I
council
think
to tackle this proposal.
I think the proposed ordinance of Councilor Osmeña is good as that, no? Because we only one session left the last week of June, no?
Okay.
So he has to refine this. I mean, this is a good also ordinance number one for the city of Cebu. Okay, as far as I'm concerned, what magilain yung syudad na nakahimo sa daan, you know?
Yes.
There were bills in the Senate by Senator Miriam Rizal, who was in a portion because makain siya. There were also bills that passed in the Congress, wala niya matutungan, no? Pero ang ilan na ito mas stiffer ang ilang penalty. Kailan nga po, hindi man kayo mo,
It's quite mild.
deprivation
Yes.
of chairmanship, di kayo pa.
If I may just read to those of you who might not have read the proposal, this is entitled An Ordinance Imposing Administrative Sanctions to the Elected Members of the Cebu City Council who switch political party affiliation or political aggregation within their term of office. So this is exclusive to councillors.
Yeah, as far as the
proposal is concerned. It does not cover those in the officials in the executive branch, like the mayor and the vice mayor. Okay. What are your thoughts on this?
Although the vice mayor is part of the legislature.
Correct.
No?
Yes.
That's not counted.
The vice mayor. So how does this go? If he is a member of the council, it's still covered, right?
Yeah.
If
right.
ever mapasa. To put it in context, the reason why Councilor Andales is saying this proposal is practically dead at this point in time is because the current council will end its term.
Yeah.
A new council will assume by June 30.
the 15th Sangguniang Council.
15th.
We are now in 14th Sangguniang
Council in Cebu City. All right, Ms. Burnett, what are your thoughts after reading the proposal?
Yeah, I was surprised that the local council is proposing for an anti-Turncoatism ordinance, because previously the largest and the highest body that actually took into consideration anti-Turncoatism is the 1973 Constitution. In fact, we have a group in the University Department of Political Science who did study about why the provision was deleted in the 1987.
Right, yes.
And they did talk to former Chief Justice Davide about it. And the primary consideration was for us, the Philippines, to actually have a very genuine multi-party system. Because if you do curtail the provision of allowing politicians to go from one political party to the other, the multi-party system, the essence of the multi-party system will be diminished. However, results post-1987 about Philippine political party system had actually been not the ideal. So even Chief Justice David himself said if he would have been given the chance to say no to the deletion of the anti-political Turncoatism provision of the Constitution, he would have favored including it in the 1987 Constitution. So when I saw a copy of the ordinance, I got surprised, and when I looked into the details of it, I think one very noticeable question is why only cover the councillors?
Right,
and exclude explicitly, because what the law does not include, it excludes the mayor and the vice mayor. I don't know if this is to take advantage of the fact that one political party is dominating the council in this current session.
Yeah.
And there may be shifts to another political party come starting June 30th.
Right. For the past 2 years, more or less, there were 3 councillors who moved to another political party from years prior to that. Just a salient point in the proposal. It is utterly, I'm reading this verbatim, utterly disheartening that party loyalty is already a thing of the past, that it is so easy nowadays for political butterflies to fly and hop from one party to another, not for anything else but for survival, self-aggrandizement, and political expediency. When you read this, Councillor, how did you react to this one?
Well, under our Bill of Rights and Constitution, of course, you have the freedom to associate with any organization. So, because there is no provision in the Constitution and there is national law, then I think
it's okay.
Yeah, the elected officials may shift from one party to another, although we have to define what is a political party.
Right.
Is it you have Team Rama? Is it a political party? Is it the BOPK a political party? Because right now we are affiliated with LDP, and Team Rama is affiliated with Barog PDP Laban.
Yeah.
So that is you have to define clearly what is political party.
Yeah.
Is it registered in the COMELEC?
Right.
Because you want to have a personality of the security party as of now.
Because at this point in time, correct me if I'm wrong, but only national parties can be registered as political parties, right?
Correct.
Local groups cannot be classified as political parties.
Oh.
So technically speaking, BOPK and Barug PDP are not political parties.
No, Barog Team Rama also.
Team Rama, yes. So you associate yourself. That's why you have to associate yourselves with the national parties during election time.
Yeah, we affiliated with the national party so that we can enjoy, what's that? Mga canvassers or something like that. We are entitled also to the result of the election.
Alright. As a political party.
Yeah.
Okay, but the proposal of Councillor Asmani actually defines what a political party is. Can this be, is this okay?
I think we have to define it, deeper, no? Because it's not really clear. When can you consider it a political party?
Yeah, it's defined here. The proposal defines political party as an organized group of citizens advocating an ideology or platforms, principles, and policies for the general conduct of government, and which, as the most immediate means of securing their adoption, regularly nominates and supports certain of its leaders and members as candidates for public office.
Now, is it,
It also says here, your political party is either a local, regional, or national party accredited or registered with the Commission.
that's the point, that whether it is registered, accredited to the committee. Now, is UPK registered?
Yeah. Is Baruk Team Rama registered?
This is a question that I have to clarify. So who will determine whether the group is a political party or not, recognized by the committee?
Okay. So it should be the
yeah. Precisely, we wanted to invite also the committee during the public hearing.
Correct. What about you, Ms. Burnett? Are you satisfied with this definition?
Actually, there's one element that is missing in the definition, and I think this is just to capture the idea that there is really a grouping of individuals with the same ideology and fielding candidates during election. Political parties have a function, they have a social function. They're considered to be intermediaries between the government and society, government and citizens. So what do we mean by having an intermediary? The political parties perform certain functions, and if I have to read from literature, one is representation. So there should be that ability of political parties to not only represent groups of people, but also represent interests. It can be a local, it can be a national, it can be for low income, it can be elitist representation. Number two is elite formation and recruitment, because political parties need to train people to actually take hold of government positions. They cannot just be fielding candidates every election and then leave it at that once in a while. Third is there should be goal formulation. That is one of the functions of your political parties. That's why we don't create political parties every election. Rather, we sustain an ideology that brings the people or the members of the political party. They also do interest articulation and aggregation. Meaning to say, they only do not speak of the interests of the people they're representing, but they also aggregate these interests and prioritize these interests, whichever needs to be given priority. Another function is socialization and mobilization. So this is very critical, because political parties need to educate the masses, citizens, society as a whole about the functions of government, and not only limit government access to those politicians already into the political party. And lastly, organization and government. Meaning to say, political parties have the moral obligation to ensure that you have a corrupt-free, you have a clean, and you have an integrity government. So putting all together this definition of being able to put up candidates during election, political parties must be more sustainable, must be stronger, they should have clear ideologies, they should have clear principles. However, the problem, if I have to move forward, the problem in the Philippines is we don't really have a very strong political party system. It's not that we don't have a strong political party, it's the system that governs political parties that seem not to be established.
Sustainability.
We don't really have very sustainable political parties. If you notice, I think Councilor would agree that every time there are elections, there are coalitions that are created. Coalitions of friends before, enemies now, or enemies before and friends now, or politicians with benefits. They only aggregate not because they band together for the same purpose and intentions, but because they're supporting the same candidate. It's like the broadest alliance for the narrowest target. So you see different people being erased by the hands of the president and so on. It's actually a manifestation of a very loose, a very indirect, very unsustainable party system in the country. So for me, if I have to operate on the definition given by this particular proposed ordinance, I think the most significant is just being registered, accredited and registered by COMELEC, because COMELEC defines who gets in as and recognized as political party. But I think COMELEC, with the benefit of the doubt to COMELEC, COMELEC recognizes and accredits political parties as they come, not because of principles, not because of the platform, but because they come and then they have a list of candidates, a list of officers, and so on.
Sir, thoughts?
This refers to the local party system we have in Cebu City. Before Team Rama, there was another party headed by Garcia.
Yes.
I don't know, I forgot the party. But BPK since 1994 or 1988 remains to be BPK up to now. But as far as the other agrupations recently, they've been changing, you know, from the party of Mayor Garcia, then Team Rama, then now Barog, PDP Laban.
Okay.
If I may share,
Yes,
a little-
please.
But we do not know whether it is registered, no? The
Yes.
Comelec.
Back in 2007, I did a paper about political parties and their effects to the choice of Cebuanos. And I did interview former Vice Mayor Rama, then part of BOPK.
Yeah.
He was explaining to us that BOPK is not a political party. It's actually a
Organization.
band of friends.
Yeah.
It's a bando. Walang kitawag siyang bando Usmeña, Pundo Kauswagan. Because the intention is they are together because they believe in the same purpose, they believe in the same direction. So it's not just a political party, it's actually a group of friends. I don't know if that shifted over time or not changed the landscape of the city over time.
I looked at my notes. The group of former Mayor Alvin Garcia was called Usug.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so
Usugi Uswag Cebu. Okay, a question, sir. Can the COMELEC actually accredit or register local groups as political parties?
what's walk call with the legal register.
Okay. Any knowledge about it, miss?
I think they can, as long as the group is able to, fill up the needed registration form and justify that they exist really as a local political party.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you notice, there are affiliations attached to a candidate, even local. For example, for District 5, we have Baco and so on. There are also national political parties that carry candidates. So I think they can register.
Yeah. A follow-up question on your points, on the points you raised earlier about the nature of political parties, and I don't want to put Councilor Andalas on the spot, but based on your observation as a third-party observer, how is our local groups? Do they live up to those functions?
Fortunately, it's not only for the local political groups or aggregation, but it speaks about the Philippine
in general
political party system. The landscape has been not established since time. There was even a study from Ateneo de Manila. They were trying to trace political parties in the Philippines, but they had difficulty tracing it according to platform, according to principles or ideologies. Rocamora actually said in 1997 that there is very unstable condition of our political parties because, one, political parties are created every time there is an election. You have a Lakas and then you have Lakas and CMT and so on. So according to him, the upper class function actually piece together the elections and post-election battles for patronage. So they actually put up a political party, an aggregation, because they have the intention of taking advantage of election and post-election results. And most specifically, when there was still the pork barrel, that was the battle cry. You transfer to the administration political party, and we're seeing that now with the supermajority Congress. Primarily because there are, how do I call this? These are porks, no? These are porks from the administration that are actually given to legislators.
Political survival.
Yeah. So they're actually looking at the more strategically that they get to a political party because they want to take advantage post-election.
Sir, what about you? What do you think? Should Cebu only have? Is it beneficial that we have 2 political parties, or should we have more?
Well, since there is no prohibition, then we'll apply the multi-party system.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's not what we have now, multi-party, unlike the old constitution we have, wherein there are only 2-party system, the Liberal Party and National Party.
Yeah.
And it was restored by Marcos, and he also created that KBL. Then, that destroys everything. And then the 1970 Constitution delete that 2-party system, multi-party system now.
Right.
So there's a lot of, you have LDP, you have Barong, you have PDP Laban, you have Nationalist Party, KBL is still here.
Yes.
Okay, if we go back to the proposal, what do you think will be the benefits of, do you agree with the contention here, that if you stay with your political group, it will be beneficial?
Well,
as far as councillors are concerned?
that would depend, no? That would depend because sometimes if you are in the opposition, you want to get a chunk of this budget power, then you may shift also
Okay.
to the
Yeah,
administration.
What Councillor
Practical
Osmeña
process.
is, pointing out here, upholding party loyalty and adhering to ideological principles and platforms over traditional personality-based politics, minimize or eradicate corruption in elective government posts, and promote general welfare and raise the bar of moral values and ethical standards. Sounds too good to be true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in reality,
Your thoughts, yeah.
The idea is good, no?
Yes.
But we cannot have two-party system as far as the local scenery is concerned.
Mhm.
No? Because there is a freedom of choice. We can create any organization, association, if you like to. It boils down whether it is registered or accredited by the committee.
Yeah.
So, the committee plays an important role here.
Right. Ms. Burnett, what about you?
Yeah, I think the very idea of why we discourage turncoatism is we would like to ensure that the principles of the parties are considered,
Intact,
it's intact, it's used as a leverage in order to advance policies rather than advance individuals. Because sometimes the political parties are used by politicians to gain office, and then after gaining office, they shift to another camp so that they can get some benefits. But the idea here is, remember, we go back to the principle of political parties becoming the intermediaries of citizens. They're supposed to give citizen idea about what priorities, what government policies are to be articulated, at the same time aggregated. But if you have politicians who keep on swinging or switching from one political party to the other, what interests are they bringing? What interests are they pushing forward?
Yes.
So they are unable to articulate, much less aggregate, because the interests are so varied, so scattered. So if you do not stick to your political parties, if you're not faithful to the principles, so everything comes and you entertain all of them. So it waters down the very idea and the very ideal of policy development.
Okay, so you agree with this proposal? Do you support this?
Well, actually, not within the terms though, because it's very, because
Right.
I think I can smell a little bit of the politicking within, because of the specificity of the city councilors, excluding the mayor and the vice. But if we have to look at the landscape in the Philippines, there are already efforts to bring back anti-political turncoatism. Although the proposal of the late Miriam Defensor Santiago actually said 6 months before and 6 months after, or a year before and a year after elections. This is also echoed in the Party Development Act proposed by Senator Legarda in the same Congress, 14th Congress, saying that if you transfer, will be considered political turncoatism. So there was already a number of efforts, a number of strides to actually put a halt to party switching, because in the grand scheme of things, if we do not limit switching to political parties, we will have a very weak opposition. And in a democracy, with democratic principles working, we need to have a functional minority. We need to have an empowered minority. We need to have an opposition. Not just for the sake of having an opposition, just to have someone criticize the administration or the president for that matter, but we need to have a functional minority, because we need to ensure that everything that goes through the policy process represent the interests of the people at the bottom, on the ground.
Good, sir.
Well, ang point ako ng proposed ordinance of yung media is good ka ng, as far as I'm concerned, madili kayo strong penalty. More administrative one, no?
Yes.
So, if I shift, okay, I don't want to handle the chairmanship. So what?
Okay.
I mean, there's no state but penalty at least ma-disqualify ka to run. Like
Okay. Actually, yes. If I may just read, no, for the benefit of the public, these are the sanctions proposed by Councilor Osmeña. Any elected katong mga mo violate aning ordinance if this will be approved. Any elected city councilor who changes his political party affiliation or switches political aggregation during his term of office shall not be eligible or qualified to hold any position or membership in any regular and special committees of the Sangguniang Pangungsod or the City Council as may be created under its internal rules. Number 2, the same sanction shall apply to any member of the minority bloc in the council, including independent councillors, who joins and shifts allegiance to the majority bloc during his term of office. Those who have been expelled or have lost their party membership and have shifted political alliances are not exempted from the sanctions. The exceptions are the members of the council who are
ABC.
the ABC, the SK. These are the honorary members of the council, the chairpersons of the Sangguniang Kabataan and the Association of Barangay Councils. Okay, so very gentle.
Yes.
It's not even a penalty if you ask me.
It's not.
It's just actually countering the power over the purse.
Okay,
And the power over the different committees. If we refer back to the 14th Congress proposal of the late Miriam Defensor Santiago, she actually proposed 5 penalties. Number 1 is forfeiture of office if he's an elected official who changes political party during his term, disqualified from running from any elective position in the next 2 succeeding elections, prohibited from being appointed or from holding any other office, including government-owned and controlled corporations for 5 years after expiration of current term, prohibition from assuming any executive or administrative position in his new political party, so he cannot be the chairman, the vice chair, and so on, and directed to refund any and all amounts he received from his political party plus a 50% surcharge thereon. So I think
Don't you miss former Councilor Santiago?
So I think the proponent will have to reflect on the weight given to the political party and the premium we give to sticking to our political party.
So as far as actually as far as both of you are concerned, there needs to be this proposal needs to be enriched, strengthened.
Yes. And I think it's quite haphazard to have actually made an anti-Turncoatism ordinance towards the end of your term, because you will be affecting so many others in the next term. So I so believe that if the council is really serious, both camps, wherever parties they belong to or aggregation, they can study this. We as a Cebu City citizenry, we can actually look at this more intently. If we really are serious about political parties and we have the intention of ensuring that we have credible local parties and party system in the city, then we can actually go and then study this further by reflecting on the proposed Senate bills before.
That's right. And we would also take this opportunity to call on the public to actually participate in the discussion, because I think that's what's lacking also. Even during our public hearings, sir, if you observe, there are only a few who attend public hearings of even controversial proposals or ordinances. And this in particular affects all of us because the councillors represent the people in the city council in the decision making. Okay, if I may bring it to letter C of the definition of terms, Councilor Osmeña is also defining political aggregation as a formal or informal political alliances among elected officials or a coalition of local, regional, and national parties in order to create a majority bloc in the city council. Is this fine with you, formal or informal?
I don't know what he means by informal and informal. I don't know also whether this political aggregation be recognized and accredited by COMELEC.
I think that's the limitation of the last concept of aggregation, because it's a simple coalition of the whole, for example, if they belong to the same council, without necessarily registering and taking an oath that you actually transferred camp. So the switching concept is is very vague. I mean, I may support him, but I need not necessarily be part of his political party.
Right.
But if you see the pattern of the voting and so on, you actually, support. No? But I think that the last concept is to recognize and acknowledge that as far as the city is concerned, we have more of aggregation rather than formal political parties.
That's right. But how do you even define an informal political alliance?
I think caucuses will do, I don't know.
We have to
Yeah.
find that type of,
That's
so
right.
rules, no?
Yeah.
If you
Okay. Yeah. So coverage again, only the city council and not the executive. What are your thoughts on this, sir? By the way.
Well, this is focused only in the council, the legislative branch, no, wherein refers to the city councillors, and it also refers to the vice
Mayor.
vice mayor.
Okay.
of the party.
But do you think this should be expanded to cover
Yeah.
also officials in the executive branch?
No,
What do you think should be more beneficial from a leader's point of view?
Okay, we'll ask you to Australia about that. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
But
Yes,
I,
ma'am.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think why the mayor is not included here because the phenomenon of turncoatism is really towards the winning executive. I mean, say if you're the winning mayor, everybody gets to go to you and form join your party. It's less likely if you as a locally checked executive transfer to a political party because it's dominating the council. Because you need the attention of the executive and the legislative. So the power over the purse is the question here. Because at the end of the day, it's the mayor who actually approves and can veto ordinances coming from the council. So the likelihood of why the executive is not included is because of that. Instead of the mayor going to the majority, it's the rest of them going to the mayor,
That's
which
right.
is the phenomenon also at the national level.
True, sir.
Well, we can have an idea. Supposing the mayor is another party, and the vice mayor, the same party, but majority of the councillors from the opposition. Now, that's a good point. May the mayor transferred his political affiliation to the majority or opposition of the city council, so that he can have, in case he have a legislative agenda, then he has the backing of the majority of the opposition. So that's a good point. Whether it covers the mayor or vice mayor.
It's supposed to cover everybody.
I suppose, yeah. Cover everybody.
That's a good point then.
Yeah. So, is Councilor Osmeña refiling this proposal in the next council? Because it seems that the council now can no longer take action on this.
He will refile this.
Yeah, he will refile
in the
this.
15th sa Guniang Panguso.
Okay. If I may just take this opportunity, because both of you are already here, we just finished a very interesting elections, both in the national and local. In Cebu City, interesting turn of events. Vice Mayor Labella will now be coming in as mayor, and former Mayor Rama are now coming in as vice mayor. Where do you see Cebu City is going? Looking forward.
We're crafting a new chapter. I think the advantage perhaps is Mayor Labella has the blessing of the president. And I think in the kind of politics that we have in the Philippines, even if we don't really appreciate that kind of politics from the academe side, but I think that's very advantageous because there is already a dialogue between and among the local chief executive and let's say the representatives of the president to actually implement a number of projects in the city. However, we also see a lot of tensions of where the council will be going, especially that majority of the members of the council are from another group or aggregation, right?
Yes.
So this may have an effect on what kind of ordinances and the quality of ordinances that will be passed by the council, or whether or not the tension actually erupts and puts a halt on the development of the city because of the disagreements of the executive and the local council.
That's right, because in Cebu City, while the mayor and vice mayor belong to Barong PDP, the majority of the councilors actually belong to POPK.
Yes.
But as many puno kausawagan, sir.
But we can assure Mayor Lobelia that if it is for the benefit of Cebuanos, and the city government will be with him or whatever agenda he has.
Yeah, and that's actually what the public will be expecting.
Yeah, we will be
for
backing.
our leaders to be working as expected. Yeah. During the Independence Day celebration in Cebu City, outgoing mayors Menia and incoming mayor Labella shook hands.
Shook hands.
Yeah.
I was there.
Okay. Yeah. By the way, Miss, were you surprised with the results of the elections?
A bit, because we were expecting that there will be an increase, a steady increase in the voter turnout. We actually have about 78% voter turnout for this election, where in fact in 2016 we have reached 81.96. And since 2010, we have steadily increased that voter turnout. So we would have wanted increased participation from the public, because elections are the very physical manifestation of our being citizens, aside from all other venues and ways to participate. But we see, we still have to check whether this slight decrease of voter turnout is caused by violence, caused by fear, caused by vote buying, as allegedly there was massive vote buying.
Yes.
Or even looking at, is there a change in the landscape and the structure, organization of vote buying in
There
the
was
country?
there were also allegations of harassment during election season.
Yeah. So exactly, we would like to see if the slight decrease had been caused by all of these, because this will be a point against democracy and the deepening of democracy that we have been doing over the past 30 years.
Yeah, we look forward to the findings of that study.
I need that. We need that findings also.
Yes, I'll give you this opportunity to make a statement, give a statement to the Cebuanos, because I think you haven't joined us after election just yet. This is the first time you've rejoined us here in the Freeman after the election.
Yeah, masalamat ko sa mga katauhan sa Cebu. Sitting kita ka kung dako mandato ninyo. Kunya rest assured nga di ko mo trabaho kita, as a matter of fact, since 12 sa guniyang pangusod, 13 sa guniyang pangusod, 14 sa guniyang pangusod, what you could have sent. Perfect attendance for 9 years. No? And then I have passed several ordinances and committee reports and resolution. Highest ko as far as resolution is concerned. Natay at least mga close 3,000 resolution passed since 2010 up to now.
Okay.
So I will continue this advocacy ako, like free akong service as far as change of a correction of name in your birth certificate, date, month, gender mo, spelling sa first name, second name, middle name, libre na ito ng division.
Okay, have you spoken to Vice Mayor Labella, who will be coming in as the new mayor?
Yeah, congratulate lang ko niya. Of course, ako yung si Vice nga, we will be with you, whatever your policies and advocacy, that would be beneficial to the Cebuanos.
Okay. Ms. Burnett?
And locally, there had been shifts in the tides of those who win and those who lose, and there are very important case studies that I think we need to look into to answer whether or not there is a change in the political landscape of Cebu. The same political landscape has been there for the last 50 years, but had we really progressed from there? It's very interesting to actually look at that. So for newly elected politicians and candidates who will be assuming office on the 12th noon of the 30th day of June, congratulations, and be sure to have good work for the next 3 years. Many people will be looking at after your projects and your programs to benefit them the most. Thank you very much for that.
Great. And as far as this proposal of Councilor Osmania is concerned, we'll see if he will refile this in the incoming council. And we'll also like to hear from the COMELEC, because definitely the COMELEC will play a big role in defining this proposal. Thank you very much, Joe, for
Thank you.
joining us today. In the studio live, we have Councilor Cecilio Andales. He is the chair of the Committee on Laws in the City Council, and of course, the chair of the Political Department of the University of San Carlos, Ms. Bernetta Brenica. Thank you both again for joining us. I am Jobert Octal, the online editor of the Freeman, and join us again next Friday as we continue to talk about the latest stories, trends, and events here in the Freeman Conversations. Have a pleasant weekend.